we have always getting better response from customers. Lot of footfall. From year 2015, we are participating in ProPak Asia Thailand. And this year also, due to COVID, there are lesser movement, but the key customer, who are our customer, and more people who are interested in our product are visiting frequently.
At first, Liquidbox planned to be in ProPak exhibition and have a booth, actual booth there anyway, because we know that people around the world will come to ProPak especially for the packaging business. However, the COVID situation did not support us that much to be physically being there to meet our potential client and also our partners. So ProPak has offered us a hybrid exhibition, which actually answering what we are looking for, because we still want to meet our potential clients and also our partner, but without physically being there. So that's why, with no hesitation, we actually participate in hybrid exhibition.
Right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another session with ProPak virtual event. So today we're going to talk about packaging. So packaging is a moving target. New regulations, new designs, new materials, new ways of doing things is coming up all the time. And us, whether from consumer side, from producer side, brand owner side, we have to keep moving, developing, and evolving. That comes to the topic of the day: evolving packaging trends in pharmaceutical industry. We at ProPak and ProPak Asia, we bring to you the industry partners from all over the world. And one of the most influential partners is World Packaging Organization, WPO. With us today, we have the global ambassador, Mr. Chakravarthi. Mr. Chakravarthi, I'd like to start off with something that I would like to know. From my own experience as a consumer, I don't see a lot of movement on pharma packaging in the recent years, whether it's foil, blister, flexible and rigid packaging and containers. So I hope today you'll be able to share the developments, what has been done, what are in use, as well as the future trends of pharma pack. Mr. Chakravarthi, please.
Well, thank you very much. A very good afternoon to all Southeast Asian countries, audience from Southeast Asia. A very good evening from friends from Australia, New Zealand. And good morning to other countries. It's always a great pleasure to interact with you all through the in pharma markets ProPak Asia platform. For quite a number of years, I've been associated with the ProPak Asia on their mission of sharing knowledge, showcasing the various technological advancements in their exhibitions, mainly the ProPak Asia at the Bangkok, and the corresponding seminars and conferences, webinars now. I've been a part of it all through these years. It's always a great opportunity to know from you people and share what we know up till now. Interact with you all, learn new things. Unfortunately, thanks to COVID-19, we are missing that the physical events. It's the second year in succession already. But I'm assured that there will be a mega ProPak Asia very soon, probably in 2022, in the coming year. But until then, we are not keeping quiet. There have been a lot of virtual events, which we are all connected globally. And today, I'm privileged to come before you talking about the packaging pharmaceutical industry per se. As my friend Mark, wondering what's happening to all the pharmaceutical packaging on the shelves. So my presentation is going to answer you. But before that, a little brief. The pharmaceutical industry today, the approach is more user-centric. It was not like before in the traditional methods. It's going away from the traditional methods. But definitely, it has a personalized focus, patient centricity. That is the center of focus, because the sensitive drugs and the potent drugs are on rise. The demand for highly complex packaging material is on the rise to safeguard the efficacy of such highly potent drugs throughout the supply chain gamut. And as you are aware, the designing of the packaging and labeling is being decided now right at the product development in the laboratory. And we are not waiting for the product to come out and then decide the packaging. It's no more like that. Things are changed completely. And as you are aware, packaging can actually play a key role throughout supply chain gamut, as I was telling you. And the swift, the fast and effective communication, it gives all the stakeholders and industry users the regulatory controlling clearing authorities is possible by adopting best possible packaging practices. As I keep saying, always the translating that kind of a user-friendly design, that is the need of the hour, which has become a primary requirement now. But at the same time, unfortunately, it's not like other packaging. We have to adhere to the standard technical specifications mitigated by the regulatory authorities. We have to address those issues also parallelly, and striking a balance between both the requirements and also addressing because the drugs, the formulations and the medicines go across all the world. People belonging to different cultures, different habits, different geographical, different age parameters, language, their ability to read the packaging, etc., differing from country to country, area to area. I think we need to keep all those things in mind. So packaging has a huge responsibility to cater to all these requirements. So let's go to the presentation now. Well, we are talking about evolving packaging trends in pharmaceutical industry, of course. So that's the topic of the day today. As you are aware, we are already into new normal. In those days, a few months ago, the last year, we were talking about, okay, we are in this pandemic. We have to live with the new conditions because the life will not stop. It has to go on despite the pandemic striking so badly all the lives of people and across the globe. I think now we are set to the new normal already. And as you rightly point out, the physical interactions with the doctors, the physicians, what you say, and the patients decrease by the day. Tell me, who dares to go to a hospital unless it is so dying demand for a normal thing? And with the fear of getting infected, if you go to a clinic or a hospital, so people want to go to hospitals for smaller consultations, no more. But imagine you can consult your doctor on phone with a high-end video call. It gives you, the technology has enabled all of us to feel as if we are actually sensing that the doctor feelings one-on-one. We also can upload our clinical parameters and the diagnostic testings, test results, etc., to allow the physician to come to some kind of a conclusion. This lot of apps are online, and believe me, my friends. In fact, this is our experience also. Many of my people in my factory in other areas also. The digital doctor, the apps have been derived. People, if they were really handy and very experienced physicians were available online, and they were available at a single call on an appointment, of course. And then they will diagnose you online through a video call after explaining your condition, and then if supported by some test reports, etc., you can upload and then interact with the doctor, and then the doctor will prescribe you the medicines, and you're getting cured. Believe me, there are millions of people across the globe have visited the doctors online and then got their prescription done, got their medicines prescribed, and got cured. Probably the Mark's question is answered a little bit here, because everything is coming online through pharmacy online. You call e-pharmacy otherwise.
Mr. Chakravarthi, if I could interrupt you for 1 second, your presentation is not showing. Could you reshare the presentation page?
Is it not showing?
Please click on start the presentation.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought it. So anyhow, as we are talking about, we are getting used to the new normal. The remote consultations are on, and we are getting the drugs. As I was answering Mark, why they have disappeared from the normal stores, but they are more on the e-pharmacy. This is where we are talking about pharmacy online or e-pharmacy with a proper description. Online prescription. Packaging will be your second physician. This was coined by me a couple of years ago, and this is quite popular slogan all over the world. Initially, people were wondering, what is this guy talking about? How can packaging can supplement a physician? But I think the COVID conditions have definitely have proved this statement very true under the circumstances, definitely. And as I was discussing with my friend Mark, I'll be elaborating a little bit more on this statement and end of the presentation in a Q&A, right? So until then, remember this slogan. People who are witnessing this slogan for the first time, packaging will be your second physician. Remember this in your mind. I'll come back to you on this. Well, as we all know, the host of packaging material, as you already know, be it paper, foil, blister, the glass, vials, converted cartons, labelings, caps, induction sealings, child rations packs, senior friendly packs, whatnot, including the integrated electronics. So everything is part of your the pharmaceutical packaging, which is really safeguarding the drug efficacy today. Pharmaceutical packaging should enable, which I was talking about a little while ago, the right everything. The right person, the right documentation, at the right time it has to take, the right route, the supply chain route, the logistics, the right kind of logistics. Of course, at the end of the day, the right dose, the right medication of the right dose to the right person. In all this gamut of the journey of this drug, look, one thing is common. That is pharmaceutical packaging. Of course, enable labeling also. Do you know one thing? The final contact between patient, that is the user, and the drug, that's the medicine, is nothing but packaging. Do you agree with me? It is not your frontline medical person or a pharmacist or a clearing agent or a storekeeper or your physician or anybody. So what is there between the drug and you? That's the packaging. So that is the relation which cannot be disassociated from the medicines or drugs, whatsoever you call. That's the criticality of the packaging. So the packaging design should prevent medication errors we are talking about. We can elaborate a little later how it can prevent also. And today the pharmaceutical, the market is enormous, and as per one statistics, market share 4.5% of the topical drug delivery packaging, $90.23 billion in 2019. And it is expected to touch around 150 billion by around 2027 there in North America pharmaceutical packaging market size. Well, to lead you a little away from the very technical topic, I will try to take you through a small journey, how we started and how we encountered the past, present, and future. And then we'll try to discuss, interact with what are all the new developments on the fore. Let's see. Let's start the journey, the past, present, and future. Well, you're aware that was the first Ford motor car on the left. It looks like a rig, but it was a car. And today you have all Mercs, BMW, so-called advanced cars. Of course, we are talking about driverless cars also, definitely. Very advanced cars in the current scenario, flying around all around the world. But for the pandemic, you would be committing day in, day out every day. In the future, how it will be? Yeah, this is the state of the art. It doesn't have any wheels. The car doesn't have a driver. All the drivers are going to be jobless. Of course, they will find something else, obviously. So this will be a future. And of course, in the two-wheelers, in the good olden days, in my childhood, I remember those mopeds of 50cc, maybe 100cc sometimes. And then to state-of-the-art BMW motorbikes today. So the cycle, bicycle, and in the future, flycycle. Look at the traffic today, the busy traffic in Bangkok streets or in Jakarta, for example. And this will be very, very handy. And you will get permission very soon. And the prototypes are all there, but I'm sure the future sees them very much. Healthcare, yeah. You look at this, how traditional healthcare started. And once upon a time in my childhood, there are certain diseases. If somebody is affected with a kind of a disease, for example, cancer, I think you have to just number the days of the patient. It's cureless. And today, cancer is just like any other disease. Even the pandemic, even though we don't find exact medication for the COVID, but we still are able to avoid that with suitable vaccines and all. So quality healthcare is available in the current scenario. And that's where the lifespan of the people are going to increase. And you can see the tomorrow's healthcare will be like completely integrated with AR and artificial intelligence and whatnot, completely technology driven. And even now, the robots are performing surgeries, you are aware, but those will be very, very common in the coming days, and completely flawless. Even a human can commit an error, but the machine cannot commit an error. It's going to happen in the coming days. When you take the roads, we used to fly by camels those days, and today we have high-speed express highways. We go just zip fast at 150, 170 kilometers per hour. There is a free band in Germany. I traveled around 260 kilometers per hour. And tomorrow, as I told, completely driverless vehicles. You have all the smart roads, and and you don't need to fuel them also. They get charged online just because they are playing on those roads. They get charged automatically with the kiosks arranged. You don't need fuel also for that. Food. This is one thing which I'm very favorite about, but not much change. Let me tell you, even in the good olden civilization days, in the same kind of food. And the only thing is the decoration is changed. The recipes are changed. The ingredients, most of them remain changed. I think for a foodie like me, it's a evolving journey. But in future, can you imagine if you're asked to take a pill, right? Of course, it satisfies your hunger. You won't be getting hungry at all for long hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, just if you take one pill. But tell me, is that going to suffice your desire? Even if technically it replaces your hunger with just a pill, I don't think so. Technically, it is possible, but who will definitely ask for it? Look at this. People were wearing the attires, very traditional attires, and then today you see all the kids, all the youth, the modern garments. And tomorrow you don't need to change the garments at all. You need to have one garment for everything, and then it cleans up by its own completely. Infrared in the smart clothes, you just tune them. You don't need a washing machine. You don't need a laundry. So that might be possible. And the cities, of course, we must really harp on our ancient civilizations. Those days, without the technology, people built huge cities. And today you have a state-of-the-art downtowns in every city across the world. And future, ask Elon Musk. He's going to take you anywhere. In fact, why Elon Musk? In fact, Mr. Brosnan is following up, and Jeff Bezos of Amazon, he wanted to go fast. So book your seat and to live in the space cities in the future. Well, the relations were very, very traditional those days, and today we are witnessing the girls and boys are talking to each other, knowing each other right before marriage. They're living with each other, knowing each other. Not very bad, but sometimes it's helped them to build up their journey, how they live forward. But today you don't even know people online. You date people and then build up relations. Yeah, that's away from our pharmaceutical packaging a little bit. I just wanted to show you how we were there in the past and present and the future. Similarly, if we come to our topic today, let's also have a look at the journey of the pharmaceutical packaging, how it was evolving over the days. The time machine I'm taking you. Well, 1546, the first official pharmacopoeia was issued in Germany. It's almost 500 years ago. And then in 1668, Frederick Jacob Merck purchased a public pharmacy in Darmstadt in Germany again. That was all the beginning years of how the pharmaceutical journey started. And then you're all aware, aspirin. So that's a game changer completely. It's a revolutionary invention, aspirin, and it changed the fortunes of the Bayer in those days in the 19th century. The birth of aspirin marked the evolution of the pharmaceuticals in a big way. And then you're aware those days, all the medicines means they all used to be in glass bottles, mostly glass bottles. Probably in suspensions, some amalgams, liquids, and different contents, homely made in the, can't call it homemade, but they are made in a controlled atmosphere in small pharmacy shops, etc. By typically in India and other countries, they call Ayurveda and other things. The pharmacist used to be like that, very traditional way it started. And then the first oral contraceptive pill, birth of the oral contraceptive pill dispenser was discovered by David Wagner in 1962, because he spent the next decade, of course, in litigating pharma companies to receive royalty to fight on his birth. But believe me, the traditional bottles have been replaced. They used to have their own limitations. The dose drug adherence could not be possible. So obviously, that paves the way for the evolution of the blister packaging those days. Look, birth of modern day compliance packaging. Can you imagine if you see that there are 20 tablets? All women are familiar with this kind of tablets even now, because they know it has to go by a cycle, because the day 1 and the day 28, the efficacy of the drug will be different. For example, if you keep all those tablets in a bottle, you don't even know which tablet you have to take on the day 1, which one you have to take on day 2, and then which one you have to take on the last few days, 27th or 28th days. So this is very, very great innovation, I can say, those days, given the requirement of the patient. So it really helps the patient to follow, adhere the doses, the right kind of drug, right strength at the right time. So that's the birth of modern day compliance packaging, what we talk on 1962, Agnan Laboratories in Netherlands, and development of India. Of course, a birth control pill, 22 tablet in fact, in those days, not the 28. And yeah, birth of unit dose also those days. Can you believe this? This machine is still there in Netherlands. In 1974, the pharmacist Tilburg and a doctor from Nijmegen visited Harry Van Dijk to speak about unidose packaging in hospitals. Sorry. And in the same year, the first unidose machine was discovered by Harry Van Dijk. So as I was telling you, the prototype is still running over there. Let's come to the current situation. Today, you see all kinds of packagings, advanced packagings, various printed with the braille, embedded braille, and PP containers, and glass vials, glass bottles, whatnot. Everything today, yeah, ampoules, syringes, very advanced syringes you have in the pipeline. They're all state of the art worldwide. And then the injection vials, and you know actually the importance of this during the vaccination. And then, of course, the compliance packs, those drugs, if you see with the proper labeling, which follows the regulatory requirements. And on the right, you see all the compliance packs. You can also call them as dose packs certain times. On the left side bottom, if you see, look at it. In this small compartment, you see two or sometimes 3 kinds of drugs, or rather tablets. Maybe one capsule and one other tablet or something like that. So friends, you might be experiencing this syndrome. Okay, I am 50 plus. Even you're young, even if you're young, you tend to forget the doses. For example, if your doctor prescribes you 3 to 4 variants of medicines and ask you to take one in the morning, one in the evening, the other one maybe at 11 o'clock in the morning, or one in the after food in the lunch, and then one before going to bed. Are you not confused? So that's very less, in fact. In some cases, it's much more. So you are required to take around 8, 9, 10 drugs, 8, 9, 10 tablets or capsules in a day, and all different. So imagine that times this kind of pharmacy-based packs, blister packs, are very handy. Like, you know, you know the pill reminders. They come in boxes with the different compartments and all. So you take out the pills and put it in one compartment, maybe day 1, day 2, day 3, and then you remember actually how many pills you are taking out and all. This kind of wallets or pharmacy-based wallets are prescribed by the doctors and also given by the pharmacists. What they do, they take out the primary packaging of the respective pharmaceutical formulations, and then they place them in each window. For example, in a day, you are required to take the blue pill, red pill, and yellow pill. Maybe two yellow pills or one capsule or whatsoever it may be. And the pharmacist will place that in that compartment and seal them manually. You might be asking, if they seal manually, how the efficacy of the drug will is not compromised? Definitely they are compromised. But believe me, you are not keeping it for a long time, maybe 2 years or 1 year. It's only during the dose period, maybe for 1 month, maybe 2 weeks or something like that. So even if you keep it, anyhow, you are sealing that on the back side of the blister with a foil-based laminate. So they still remain intact. So what happened? The patient can take out one compartment. That particular day, you remember you are taking that kind of a correct kind of a medicine that particular day. So is it not interesting? So these are all innovations in the pharmaceutical packaging. The same thing you're talking about, the cold seal blister packaging, pharmaceutical and healthcare cold seal packaging. Earlier, it used to be all pre-made with some stickering in between, or with tidy hot melt arrangements. I think now these are very popular because as it is described, the innovative EcoBliss cold seal pharmaceutical packaging system, they increase brand awareness. Of course, you see with the Pfizer, maybe AstraZeneca, Novartis, you will get the brand printed on the pack itself. Improved patient compliance. How it is patient compliance? Because you know very well, day 1, day 2, day 3, you can print this on here, and on the rear side you can access the drug on the bottom side. So you'll get to know, okay, you have taken the day 1 drug, you have taken the day 2 drug, and then you have taken the day 3 drug. Interactive and engages patient, yes. Because usually if you buy medicines in the pharmacy, most of the countries, they take out the blisters from the cartons, and sometimes the label also won't come with it. They only just give you the foil blister. How many times you all have encountered on the rear side, it was getting always difficult to read whether it's a correct drug or of correct strength. Sometimes it's 250 mg, sometimes it's 500 mg. Maybe the pharmacist might make a mistake, and without knowing, we might consume a wrong drug also. So these are all the errors possible in the conventional blister packaging. But in this innovative, the pharmaceutical wallet pack, you cannot have mistakes, because the blister is already embedded between the two layers of boards. It won't come out. You're only taking out one pill at a time. So until you consume the last pill, so the entire pack is intact in your pocket. That's why it's called a wallet pack. Similarly, the information about the complete drug, the total drug, is available with that. So that also remains with the package. You don't need to throw, you cannot throw it also, even if you want. And then that is for the patient purpose. For the companies, their brand, for example, it's Pfizer, Novartis, Cipla, or whatsoever, companies like Sun Pharma, they have their branding and their brand visibly printed on the pack, and every time the patient accesses the drugs, he gets to see all the logos, and the technical information comes along with the package. So that's an advantage for the companies also. It's a kind of a loyalty. So even in this, we have lots of variants: carded blister packs, wallets, dose packs, clinical wallets, promotional packs also sometimes when you give to the physicians. Combination, we just talked about combination. 2 different drugs packed in one, even for vial packaging, etc. These are all available. And now we are talking about AVPS. Usually, you know, for the higher barrier properties, you ought to have a PVDC with a combination of aluminum on the back, right? But now in these kind of new innovations, but we have to see how much they really match the barrier properties to keep up the drug efficacy. But nevertheless, the films look like aluminum, and this follows the sustainability method because you do not have a heterogeneous material within the same package. So you can recycle the same package, the bottom and front side and bottom side with the same kind of plastic film. So what is trending, my friends, in today's circumstances? Well, I try to show some kind of a typical kerosene blister pack. Look at it, how innovatively they are made differently. Of course, it got a braille also embedded on the surface. And we're talking about the peel label, peel foil. Many people who are in the industry are very well aware with the kind of preparation. A little opening is given here, even though because all this area is sealed, so that there won't be any problem for that. So because the drug needs high efficacious packaging material, maybe this bottom foil, you cannot pierce it just by pressing it. So in that case, the peeling of the foil in the corners will definitely help, and then the drug can be accessed from the backside without much problem. Again, we're talking about the pre-filled syringes, which are very common nowadays. It's a pack, combination pack. You can put the laminate here. Of course, you can put the alcohol swab and other things also. You can arrange within the pack. So it's a combination of a pre-filled syringe pack. Well, what I was telling you before already explained to you. Look at it. You have a different medications here. The combination drugs. Look at it. The red ones, black ones, and again the gray ones and the black ones. So these are all oriented in such a way the patient takes the doses as prescribed by the physician. So these are all combination drugs wherein you need to take different kinds of drugs on a particular day as prescribed by the physician. Imagine your situation in normal circumstances. You have this red ones, the blue ones, the gray ones, and the black ones in different bottles. And then you are asked to take one pill in the morning, one in the afternoon, one before night. Sometimes skip a day, one alternate day, something like that. Is it not going to be very difficult? The life will be very difficult. I do understand. So to mitigate those problems, these kind of the dose packs have evolved, which were not very common a couple of decades ago. Now they are very common. So these really help patient not to miss on the dose what he has to take. B, to take the correct medicine at the correct time. And then he remembers how much he has consumed, etc. In addition, as I telling you, the drug information is printed on this. He can readily refer it when he talks to the physician. He can tell so many this variety he has consumed, so many this variety he has consumed during the past few days. And then he can explain to them because their names of the drugs, everything is written there in the respective areas. So the patient will not have any confusion here. Unlike in the olden days where you are given in different bottles, different blisters or something like that. So this is really, as the name says, the smart source for pharmaceutical and healthcare packaging. This really helps the people, pharmaceutical packaging. Very user-friendly, I must say, very user-friendly. Well, you know the unit packs. You have seen the similar ones because it's very handy. The only thing is on the sustainability area, I have my own little doubts on this because the recyclability of heterogeneous material. Of course, they are working on it. In fact, what I was talking to all the packaging manufacturers of this kind of things, evolve such kind of a film which can really safeguard the efficacy of the drug at the same time. They should be biodegradable also, because hardly we can recycle them or 100% recyclable, if not possible. So that's important, because even though they are very handy for you, you can consume. So that's why there are limitations to here it is a fruit shot, or they are vitamin supplements or something else. So they are not into real drugs basically. But in the future it will come. So we have to wait and watch. Yeah, and then the protection for your, when you are manufacturing typically complex drugs, which are used for treating highly potent diseases, high sensitive drugs. You need to really protect your image and brand image, not only brand image, the health of the patient also is at prime importance. So for those kind of things, a lot of the anti-counterfeiting packaging formulas are coming up. You can check up. And by the way, I'm available on LinkedIn or through ProPak Asia anytime. If you have any questions and all, even in the later time also, we can always interact and then know each other and share our knowledge. What is update today in today's scenario. And this is very interesting to me as well. The self-dose patient-controlled injector. Okay. You don't need to have piercing the needle all along. Life will be very simple, believe me. The technology has made a people's life so simple. I think you don't even feel the pain, and you can still administer that injection on your body and get cured. So don't you think it's really helpful? And this is another thing. I think probably it was developed by GSK. I'm not wrong. It has won a World Star Award, also International CPHI Award also. It's very common for us when you apply a cream or a lotion, which normally for the pain suppression, you spoil your hands. So you cannot clean your hands there, then and there itself. And sometimes you apply the cream in the unaffected areas also without knowing. So to put a full stop to all those, this packaging innovation has evolved. You only need to just press this, and then that can be applied on the affected area, and withdraw this simply, and it won't have any problem then. So it's a very good applicator. So yeah, label or a cap, or maybe both. Yes, they are both. You have a label and a cap together. So they also safeguards the drug and at the same time gives that information also. This is another interesting thing. Look at this, go from several shots a day to an insulin day. You know, the diabetic patient life was miserable, believe me, around a couple of decades ago, even a decade ago. But for the advent of all these innovations in the packaging, you apply, like now you just apply a patch on your body. Look at it. There we go. Eliminate the need of multiple daily injections. Simply with a drug delivery, with an application, it helps your blood sugar day and night with just one application. One instant simply clicks to deliver the mealtime insulation. So wonderful innovation, isn't it? Similarly, yeah, different holograms, as we are talking about, safety seals, to see that. And this is also very close to my heart. You know, very expensive drugs used to remain a few milliliters, 2-3 milliliters on the bottom, because of the surface tension, because of their viscosity. And today, this conical bottom in the glass containers are coming up. So the last drop also can be powered from this bottle. This is another one, child resistance packaging. It's a very popular, the world's first reclosable child resistant carton, which is called Lock for Kids. The tray with the interlocking option to contain multiple blisters. Earlier, it used to be only one blister, because now actually in the child resistant packs, there are sometimes you may need to pack 2, 3, 4, 5 blisters in a pack. So this has come very handy, the child resistance packaging, multiple blister packs, and then On the backside, you can browse through the internet and type lock for kids. Complete information is available with lots of videos. Self-explainable videos are there. Otherwise, you can always write to me for further information. Very innovative packaging development in the recent past. Incidentally, this has won the Star of the Amir Star Award, the President Award of the World Star, the Informa Markets, CBHI International Technology Award, whatnot. Almost all the awards in the world it has won. So any innovation will definitely. There is another one, medicinal straws, which is also, I like it most because we often encounter kids really cry for taking medicine. Certain times they are bitter, and the moms used to struggle to help the kids take the medicines and all. In that case, it's a very simple solution. The medicinal straw does contain that drug in between. All that you need to ask your kid is to ask him to drink some water or drink some beverage or some juice of his choice. Only thing is he has to use this straw. So what happens while accessing while swallowing this beverage, he simultaneously takes this also in. This medicine also goes into him. So there's no need to worry for that. The persist alert. This is another advanced dose alert. It works on any kind of package, unless you bring that your smartphone nearer to that and then open the container, whether it is a box or a container or a bottle. Only after opening only the beep sound will disappear. Otherwise, even if you try to switch off your smartphone, it won't. So that's a kind of the pill alerts also coming up in the market. And, yeah, I already explained to you on this the pharmacy-based blister packaging in detail. Already we talked about it a few minutes ago, where you need to have different kinds of medications on in one day, and the pharmacist can pack constantly in the different windows. Very, very useful and handy for the patients. And then, as we are talking about, the packaging design has to be patient-centric. It has to address all the needs of, see, for example, the complete product information has to come in. The key critical information will come on this wallet here, and all the additional information which has to pass through that regulatory, because these regulatory requirement leaflets can be placed in the pocket provided on this dose pack. And then you have the tablets 1, 2, 3, 4 printed respectively, so that the patient can access. Look at this, even Amazon, when you buy e-pharmacy, you have a host of different medicines coming up, even inhalers. This we are talking about nasal inhaler. The combination packs, they deliver to you at your door. Fully recyclable strip packaging. This is another thing which we are talking about. Still a lot of R&D is going on. As I was telling you, it is almost impossible to replace aluminum in a blister pack because of the high barrier properties the metal aluminum foil has. And now we're talking about a monomer film on both sides. Yet it protects the drug as it was protecting that alu PVDC or alu blister. But a lot has to happen. Eventually it will happen. I'm very positive on it. Smart medication monitoring. We are talking about the integrated electronics on the rise, which and NFC and RFID technologies. My dear friends, you remember, if you want to have an RFID tag a couple of decades ago, a simple RFID basic tag used to cost us almost $1. Can you imagine? Almost 30 bahts. Used to spend 30-40 bahts just for an RFID tag. And now the technology has developed so much. Even if a product the product itself is less than worth of $1 can have an advanced RFID or a near field communicator tag on the surface, which really protects you against duplication and counterfeiting. Smart packaging, another example. You can actually see the level of the drug from outside even without opening it. You have the counting device and medical receipt and everything. It's kind of an interactive packaging, we can call it. And this is also in the same line what we are talking about. Smart pill bottle plus mobile app, interactive, completely integrated. It traces automatically the doses, and it reminds you also. Sometimes if you are taking double dose, that will alert you also know you are taking a double dose, and it gives you all history in the previous last 1 week, how much you have taken and all. And if you're nearby, it snoozes also, it alerts you basically. So it completely takes care of you, just like a nurse, you can imagine. That's the advance of the intelligent packaging, we can say. Well, in the future, so we are talking about all these things, right? The packaging will tell you this, packaging will do for you this, and all. Eventually, your doctor or a pharmacist will come to your drawing room. And the moment you take the pack in your hand, he is going to appear before you. Okay. What you're thinking? Yes, what I'm saying is correct. The doctor or a nurse or a pharmacist, whatsoever you call, or the marketing guy, he will physically come into your drawing room the moment you take the package in your hands, and he'll explain to you what you have bought, how you have to take the medicine, what kind of a drug it is, what are the constituents within that. And then in the future, it will get interactive also. So, so far it might be some recorded version only, but it will become interactive also. You can actually, in the live, you can interact with him, inviting him into your drawing room.
My name is Nora. I'm a registered dietitian, and I am here to welcome you to True Life Supplements.
So your dietitian, you actually called her into your drawing room. She's appearing on your pack. Once you take your smartphone nearer to the package what you bought, so you get to know what all this pack contains, what you have to do, everything and all. You don't need to worry. And then it can come in any language. You don't need to worry that, okay, it talks only in English. It can talk in multiple 100 languages. So friends, tell me, is it not the technology is evolving for the good of the people? Let's really hail being the part of this big packaging and pharmaceutical community worldwide. Let us celebrate, and because of which we have been surviving, because of which our lifespan is increasing. We are trying to live happy lives because of these advancements in the technology. And what's your idea? You can always contact through a LinkedIn. The World Packaging Organization, we firmly believe better quality of life through better packaging for more people. With that, thank you very much. That's the end of the presentation, my dear friends. Thank you for your patient hearing of almost 50 minutes, I think, of presentation.
Thank you, Chakravarthi.
What do you mark?
Yes, thank you for the presentation. It was quite. I learned quite a few things, having been in the packaging world myself. We do have several questions for you. You mentioned at the top, what do you mean by packaging will be your second physician?
1 minute.
Of course.
What I was telling you, Mark, telling all the people, packaging will be your second physician. So it is evident from the fact that ease of administration, okay, dose accuracy, dose monitoring, and minimizing. Why minimizing? It's almost zeroing medication errors. these have become very, very important factors. Why? Because it's not just safeguarding. As a packaging primary function is to just safeguard the drug efficacy throughout the supply chain gamut. But this kind of requirements like dose monitoring, dose accuracy, and minimizing any errors of that double doses, etc. and all. These have also become requirements. Earlier, it was not like that. Rather, it was like that. In the absence of these things, people were not taking the drugs in the right time. They're either missing the dose. Sometimes they don't do that. And for example, in the child resistance requirement, even the children used to accidentally ingest the poisonous medicines also. So in that case, what has become very handy, all these requirements are embedded into the packaging, and the packaging is serving the purpose of meeting all those requirements, and also following the regulatory practices also. In a nutshell, whatever your physician, right, used to tell you, used to warn you, you do like this, you take this, you do this, everything and all, your packaging is going to tell you today, either visually or just now you have seen digitally also. It is going to audible also, with interactive electronics, with the advent of AR technologies, embedded AR technologies. That is the reason I think I was talking more and more. The packaging, even though physically it may not replace a physician, what physician all can do for a patient, but most of the parameters of what we have discussed are met by the packaging. So that's why it is fulfilling the needs of physician in certain circumstances. So once again, my friends, it's the packaging will be your second physician.
Is it because of this regulation in place to include those information?
It's not regulation alone, my friend. It is our responsibility of the pharmaceutical industry also. And it's a requirement for the patient, because the dose requirement. Imagine, Mark, if you take two dose, that's called double dose. You have to elect double dose. I think sometimes you might die also. And sometimes if you are missing a medication for a longer time of a particular medication, and even that lead to fatality also. So these things, to avoid these things, I think packaging has come a long way compared to earlier situation. I'm sure about it. So that's how it really helps your life to get improved.
That's a good point. That's a good point. So on the side, of course, being on the packaging itself, I want to talk about packaging design. There has to be a balance between form and factors. And we see your examples of several of the packaging designs that are using excessive packaging materials. But yeah, I want to focus on this point on the design. What is the thought process on the value chain and the designing of the pharma packaging, as well as how to leverage that packaging design for the industry, but not to discount the environmental impact of that packaging?
Mark, I think I must compliment you for this very, very, very valid question. I think you really touched upon today's requirement. As you're all aware, I take a couple of minutes on it. As you're all aware, the packaging really plays a crucial role in maintaining what is the function. It has to maintain the quality, the safety, efficacy of whatever the pharmaceutical drugs, products packaged throughout the value chain. You agree with that? But in pursuit of making the packaging sustainable, okay, we have to realize any packaging which falls short of serving these primary requirements, which I'm talking about just now. If you want to be sustainable, okay, are we going to compromise on the life-saving parameters? So that is where you're talking about maintaining a balance. So no matter the amount of the material reduced, and also the recyclability, use of more and more recyclable materials, etc. So we have to keep in mind. So technically, though it is not possible to use every application of also the primary packaging to be recoverable and use several sustainable material wherever it is possible. The post-consumer plastic, or recycled plastic, or a biodegradable plastic. I think this is happening already. For example, the recycled paper, use of paperboard. Not always all the material which comes into direct contact with the drug, but definitely associated packaging. You can always have several sustainable ways so that you can keep environment safer. So always, I think the exercise is going on. Nothing to worry. Definitely, it has to evolve. As you rightly told, it has to strike balance also. And coming to your second point of design thinking in pharmaceutical packaging, Mark, actually, this topic also is very close to my heart. See, the sustainability, the protecting the environment, and considering several other issues like product safety, efficacy, regulatory, compliance, patient convenience, all these things you have to keep in mind. It's not simply, okay, product packaging, it contains some products. Like in other products, we only think. But in pharmaceutical packaging design, you have to take into consideration all through the parameters. In a simple way, the design thinking in pharmaceuticals must facilitate really a better connectivity of the patient, because the patient centricity is very vital and very important. The medical devices also, for example, pre-filled syringes, the pre-filled syringes and the vials, etc. For example, they need to be very hermetically sealed properly, because not lose that drug efficacy. But at the same time, when the physician or a surgeon wants to access, open it, and administer that drug to the patient, it has to be easily openable also, right? And it's not just required that, oh, okay, 100% sealed, there's no problem. It's okay. It serves one purpose. But the second purpose, unless you access the drug by a very user-friendly method, it has no meaning. So that means it has to strike a balance. The designing has to consider in such a way the drug has to be safeguarded so that it doesn't lose its efficacy throughout its supply chain gamut. At the same time, while administering, it has to be very user-friendly, either to the patient or to the physician, whoever administers that, both in the case of a formulations, tablets when you're accessing, or an injection, a pre-filled syringe, or from a vial when you're opening out. So hopefully you got it answered, because the design thinking in the pharmaceutical is very critical. It has to. It doesn't have one eye. It has to have three eyes. It has to look this way, that way, straight, everywhere. You have to be very focused.
It's a very multiple variable situation that one has to go through. And you also mentioned something about COVID, with which comes to my next point. So I went to drugstore yesterday and to store up my medicine cabinet, and the first thing that I did when I get home is to throw away the retail ready and shelf ready and secondary packaging. So I'm contributing to the environmental impact. But you mentioned about COVID. It's a massive amount of pharmaceutical materials and packaging being used for COVID prevention and treatment, and of course vaccination distribution. Where can we find, first question is, where can we find information on how those materials are being recycled responsibly? And next part of the question is, what do you think will be the role of packaging in the ending of COVID-19?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you have hit the nail, Mark. First things first, let's talk about all the good things these things have done to the mankind during the past, we can say, almost 18 months, I think. It started almost February 2020, January, you can say, right from Wuhan to all over the world. Sorry, in any country, actually, it's still debatable anyhow, all the countries. So imagine during the last 18 months, right, how much help, be it the personal protective equipment, diagnostics kit, even the packaging for emergency medical ventilators. Why talk about such advanced? Even hand rubs, hand wash, hand rubs, everything. which is common. One particular common point is the packaging everywhere. Imagine in the absence of right packaging available with all these, I dare to say the deaths all over the world would have been multiplied by this time. It's not just somebody getting a disease. I'm talking about even deaths. Number of active cases, number of deaths would have got multiplied by what we are encountering in today's situation. In the absence of all this protective equipment, face masks, hand rubs, hand wash, medical ventilator, diagnostic kits, and oximeter level checks, and the frontline defense, all the medications, the vials, the tablets, vials, and the cocktail drugs, etc., etc. So the packaging will definitely play a vital role, has played a vital role. We must be thankful to the pharmaceutical and the pharmaceutical packaging industry together for enabling us to really fight this pandemic bravely all through its journey. And coming to this, on the sustainability factor, and all, yes, like you, I'm also really disturbed on this. And the manufacturers have already evolved certain guidelines, how they should be disposed of, how they can be recycled. In most of the areas, they are using recyclable, 100% recyclable material, and people are not using a combination of material, which will become the recyclability will become a very, very tough call. Wherever it is possible, people are using only monomers in making those frontline defense equipment, etc. But end of the day, Mark, see, when you want to have something, you have to forego something else. So it is for our responsibility, all of us responsibility. When you are using your mask, face mask, and throwing away, are you responsibly littering? That is the first point all of us have to make to ourselves. Instead of blaming the state or government or the system, I think a lot starts at your home also. Our habits of recycling and all. Eventually, it will be a collective effort. Hopefully, we pass through this situation, Mark. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a good point that the future of environment is within our own hands, each and every one of us, and we either contribute to it to the good side or contribute to it on the bad side. So it's we each other help out, and I think that we'll be able to contribute to a better future. What's the actually we have the last question. What is your word of advice? What is the message do you have for the pharmaceutical stakeholders out there pertaining to packaging?
I'm not a guy who can give a message or advice or something like that. But let me tell you, I've been in this line more than 3 decades. To be very precise, I've been in this industry for 36 years or more. All through my life, I've been in paper boards, printing, packaging, and now I've become a evangelist of packaging all over the world, talking all the goods of packaging. But in the pharmaceutical packaging, one must realize there is no scope for errors. So what is required is the total transparency. You need to be very, very transparent with all your customers, be it internal customer or external customer. So all stakeholders, if you are making a mistake down the line or within the process, it must be popped up. Nothing wrong. Maybe you might be taken to task on that particular day. But imagine if you hide that for a while and delivers the drug to the system. After two years, somebody finds out, yes, there is a fault in the drug and somebody died because of this problem. And you will be nailed for that after 2 years. Even if you are not caught, your internal consciousness also, okay, that has happened just because of me. So this is where you need to have a transparency all through that. Any errors, any problem, any compromises, during the process, if you are compromising on any specifications and parameters, that has to be brought up to the fore and shared with the all stakeholders, and properly it has to be addressed. Point one. The second one is and it's not in the brain. Sometimes you forget. So you are required to have the documentation properly in all the pharmaceutical companies, also associated pharmaceutical packaging companies. You must be very careful, and the data integrity, you know how critical it is in pharmaceutical industry. So you have to judiciously follow the system, not your conscious. Sometimes your conscious tell, okay, you hide this point for some time. No, never do that. You might be reprimanded for a while, but in the future, you are saving a life later on. So both on the data integrity and also the information on the product during the process has to be completely transparent, and if necessary, and this will avoid all the recalls also. Imagine you can with a little loss, you can avoid this in your shop floor, in the production floor. Instead of having a major recall of the drugs after they are distributed into the system, or killing some patients because of some errors in the system, which is better. So my advice to all my fellow stakeholders of the pharmaceutical and the packaging industry is that be always transparent and maintain the data integrity all through supply chain gamut.
And that's a wise word of advice for everyone, food for thoughts for everyone. So I'd like to express my gratitude and thank you for joining us today, Mr. Chakravarthi, Global Ambassador of World Packaging Organization, WPO. So ladies and gentlemen, from us here at ProPak Asia virtual event, thank you for joining us. See you next time.
Thank you very much.